You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Wednesday. Happy Mercury Day. How's everyone feeling? It took me a lot of time to get going this morning. Really had to take it slow this morning. And I'm here just in time to talk to you about the first transit that's playing out today. So we're talking all about the Virgo moon. The moon moved into Virgo last night. It hasn't made any connections until this moment. So if you're here, you're ready to talk about the energy that's playing out as we speak. The moon is making a couple different connections. We don't have any major planetary transits today. So it's really all about the moon, all about our emotions today. And keep in mind, now that the moon is in Virgo, the full moon is in Virgo. So we're kind of under the energy of the full moon already. We're building up towards that full moon on Friday morning. It's actually just after midnight on Friday morning. And the energy could feel a little bit intense, as it always does, right around a full moon. This full moon in Virgo especially could be, it's very much a culmination because it's the last full moon before Aries season, before the astrological new year, before the spring equinox. This really feels like this buildup of energy, preparing us for release and for a clean slate. So let's talk about what's happening with the Virgo moon today. Pull up our chart here. You can see there she is, the moon in Virgo. Really nothing else around her right now either. So with so many planets in Pisces, you can guess there will be a lot of opposition over the next couple of days leading up to the Virgo full moon, and a lot of awkwardness as the moon connects with these planets in Aquarius. That's what we're feeling right now. So the moon moved into Virgo. Oh, so weird. Just played my video while it was live. Anyway, not important. So let's just talk about the Virgo moon. The moon moved into Virgo last night about 10:30 p.m. And like I said, it hasn't made any connections. But when the moon is in Virgo, it can really activate our analytical mind. Now, the moon rules our emotions, not necessarily our mental state, but because Virgo is ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, we can be mentally processing or maybe even over analyzing our emotions over the next couple of days, especially as our emotions are heightened. Expect a lot of analysis to happen. But Virgo is the sign of service. So you might feel more giving during this time, or like you want to help other people. At the same time, though, I say this with love, I am a Virgo. Sometimes Virgos get so caught up in helping other people, doing things for other people, doing things the right way. We are perfectionists, and then we expect others to do the same for us. And so Virgos have very high expectations. So when we're all feeling the effects of a Virgo moon, especially a full moon in Virgo, this is really a time to be aware of your expectations and beware of criticism. It's easier to be overly critical when we have this moon in Virgo, overly critical of yourself and overly critical of others. If you're feeling a little overwhelmed as this energy is peaking, lean into service, random acts of kindness, do something for someone else, do something for yourself even. But a small act of kindness can really go a long way as long as you're not expecting something else in return. Let's talk about what's happening right now. So 11 a.m., the moon connected with Mars in this uncomfortable, imbalanced angle, like we talked about, because Mars and Venus are now both in Aquarius. So not a direct opposition, one sign away from it. It's what we call a quincunx. And when the moon makes this imbalanced connection to Mars, then Venus, this is playing out throughout the afternoon. The first connection at 11 a.m., the second connection at 3 p.m. It could have felt like even this morning as we were working towards this connection, moving towards this connection, we have this desire for productivity. We want to be productive under the Virgo moon. Virgos love productivity. We love getting things done. But the motivation isn't there. Maybe you're feeling that as well, because the moon and Mars aren't on the same playing field. They're trying to find common ground, but they're having a difficult time doing it in this awkward angle. So our emotions are kind of at odds with our energy levels or our motivation. I'm certainly feeling that today. I mean, I'm here a couple hours later than I normally am because just did not have the motivation this morning. I really was like, I want to do nothing. I desired to be here. I love being here. I have all these things I want to do, want to get done today, but my energy level was just not there. And so you might be feeling that as well with the moon making this uncomfortable connection to Mars. It could be hard to find your motivation. And then at 3 p.m., the moon connects to Venus in Aquarius in that same way, in that same angle. So later this afternoon, it could feel like your emotions are at odds with your ability to be affectionate or to love other people. It can make it feel a little bit harder to lean into love. We want to be productive. We want to help other people under the Virgo moon. We want to, it is a sign of service. Like, we want to do good things for other people, but sometimes, I know my best friend is also a Virgo, and she does the most for everyone. She's amazing. She is like the best stepmom, the best friend, does everything for everybody. But sometimes she can be a little cold or harsh, like the affection isn't always there, even though the intention is. I love you, Leah. I say that with love if you're watching. So, even if you're trying to help someone else, it might be hard to like soften a little bit or just be affectionate, be a little bit more balanced or harmonious in the way you're operating. And again, this can come up with criticism as well, especially in relationships, because Venus rules our relationships. So all day today, beware of being overly critical of loved ones, especially in close relationships, and recognize when maybe you're not being as loving as you possibly could be. I'm certainly feeling this today. I don't say this with judgment at all, because I am definitely feeling this energy today. And, I'm a Virgo moon definitely feels very potent for me, but let me know if you're experiencing the same thing as your day has been getting going today. Comment below, comment in the chat. Let me know how the energy has felt for you this morning. The most intense transits we'll feel today, though, don't happen until tonight. So the moon is going to oppose Mercury at 7 p.m. And let me jump forward a few hours and show you what that looks like. So when the moon makes it to 11 degrees, it's making a direct opposition to Mercury. Now, oppositions are make or break transits. They're not necessarily bad. There's definitely a polarity there, a duality there, right? Because Pisces energy is very dreamy and fluid and go with the flow, and Virgo energy, the moon in Virgo, is like, no, this is how it needs to be done. We need to stay on schedule. We need to get it done. But it's interesting because Mercury doesn't like to be in Pisces. So if you have felt over the past week or so since Mercury moved into Pisces, like your mind has been wandering more, you've been dreaming a little bit more, the inspiration might be coming through, but it could be hard to put those thoughts into concrete words or plans. So the moon opposing Mercury is a very interesting transit with the moon in Virgo and Mercury in Pisces. Anytime the moon opposes Mercury, we can kind of swing from overly emotional to overly analytical, and in this case, overly critical. So, your emotions could be feeling a little bit more intense by tonight, and it could be easy to lash out at someone else, be critical, point out what everybody else is doing wrong, rather than sit with exactly what's coming up for you. Try not to do that, of course. So it might just be hard to find a happy medium between self-analysis and criticism of others. This can also make us feel a little anxious, uneasy. We can be like overanalyzing a little bit when the moon opposes Mercury. But because Mercury is in a weak position, this transit doesn't have much of a silver lining, but there is a potential. Anytime there's an opposition, it's like we are facing something head on, right? And you can either face it head on or face off with it. That's how I see it. It's like a mirror. We're being forced to see new information or see a new perspective. We're being forced to confront a thought, an idea with the moon opposing Mercury. So, again, this can be a little bit anxiety inducing. It might be that you have been thinking about something, overanalyzing something for a while, and tonight's the point where you like really have to, or it could be like a conversation you have to have with Mercury involved, the planet of communication. It might be you facing a conversation you've been avoiding, or, having that conversation could bring more clarity. So whatever it is tonight, we're facing something, and whatever comes up for you, try not to be overly critical or harsh. The Virgo moon can make us a little harsh. And then the last transit the moon makes today is a very positive one. So we have this discomfort all day. The moon opposes Mercury. We're having to like face the facts. That's how I see it. We're facing the facts with the moon opposing Mercury. But then the moon harmonizes with Uranus at 9 p.m. shortly after that opposition. So you can see when the moon hits 12 degrees, it'll form this nice flowing 120-degree angle to Uranus. Both of these planets are in Earth signs, so they flow together easily. That's why we call this a harmonious connection. The energies are just simpatico, they work together very well. And when the moon harmonizes with Uranus in this very fortunate angle, this can bring a positive disruption. Uranus is the planet of disruption, but because this angle is such a beautiful angle, it's a positive disruption, opening us to fresh energy, a new perspective. We could even feel late tonight a little ping of excitement about what's to come. Definitely an energy shift, and definitely a welcome energy shift after the awkwardness we've been experiencing all day today. So get excited for that. There is a cherry on top of the uncomfortable transits we're experiencing today. And then in the background, we still have the sun pulling away from a sextile to the north node. You can see the sun is at 26 degrees. The north node is, where am I? The sun is in Pisces. I'm like, it's because there's so many planets in Pisces. It looks like the sun is in Aries. It's not. It's just because they're all jam-packed over here, which shows us there's going to be quite a few conjunctions coming up, right? Also in Aquarius. But I digress. So the north node over here in Taurus forming a 60-degree angle to the sun over here in Pisces, pulling away from that angle, but we're still being pushed, being guided towards the direction we're supposed to be going, towards our purpose. It's very much allowing us to move forward. And when the sun forms a sextile to the north node, it's actually forming that harmonious angle we just talked about with Uranus to the south node. So it's allowing us to use the knowledge we already have in the background, the things that come to us very naturally and easily, and pushing us a little bit towards our purpose. So anything that comes up for you today, there is support in the background. Now, tomorrow we're talking about the sun squaring off to Lilith in Gemini. So we're starting to feel that a little bit as well. If you look at the chart here, the sun again is in Pisces, just doesn't look like it. And Lilith is over here in Gemini. And they're forming a 90-degree angle to each other. Now, we don't always talk about Lilith, but with the moon in Virgo, with us being overly critical, maybe more quick to speak our emotions under the Virgo moon, when the sun squares off to Lilith, we could be a little bitchier, okay? And we might be feeling that today as well. So kindness, slowing down, watching your words, trying not to be too critical, trying not to be too harsh, trying not to be too judgmental or expectant of other people to operate the way you want them to operate is going to be really beneficial for you. And we'll talk more about the sun squaring off to Lilith tomorrow. It's not a major transit, but it's just something to keep in mind as the intensity is building and the moon is in critical Virgo. We want to be sure not to let our rage take the stage, okay? Because Lilith, we will talk about Lilith tomorrow, but Lilith can be a little angry. Very powerful, but a little angry. So just keep that in mind and tune in tomorrow and we'll break down what that means in detail. And today's affirmation, I was going to do this at the top, but I forgot. So we're doing it now. Today's affirmation is I allow my mind to rest. And the reason this came through is because our minds can be very busy with the moon in Virgo, especially leading up to the full moon. And not even just our mind, but our emotions. It can be heightened and that activates our mind. It's making us process and think about things. So giving yourself time to rest. I love that I wrote, I allow my mind to rest yesterday, and then today felt the need to take some rest first thing in the morning. It always happens like that. But give yourself some downtime today. Give your mind a little bit of a break, okay? Give yourself a break, give other people a break. Just schedule in some rest today, even if it's just 15 minutes, laying in the sun or sitting outside, sitting in a peaceful environment, trying not to think about your to-do list, think about all the things your partner isn't doing for you that they wish they would do for you, thinking about how that relationship with someone else, a friend maybe, isn't going how you want it to go, your business isn't where you need it to be, the project you finished wasn't perfect like it should have been, all these little details that are pushing at the back of your mind. Let them go for just 15 minutes today. Give yourself a chance to rest. So let's do a little overview. And then we'll pull a card and see what else needs to come through. So the moon is now in Virgo, where it will stay until the full moon on Friday morning. And the moon has made some uncomfortable connections throughout the day, maybe making it feel like your desire to be productive isn't exactly on the same page as your motivation to be productive. And the Virgo moon can also make us a little bit more critical or harsh. Might find yourself having a hard time expressing your affection or expressing yourself in a more gentle way. The moon opposes Mercury tonight, forcing us to face a conversation, face some information, face the facts, essentially. This can make us feel like we're going from overly emotional to overly analytical, back and forth. It can be a positive transit, though, if we do face something head on and integrate whatever information is being brought into our awareness, whether it's from someone else or from ourselves. But the energy lightens up quite a bit when the moon harmonizes with Uranus tonight in this nice, fortunate 120-degree angle, allowing a positive disruption, a positive shift of the energy, and maybe even making us a little bit excited about what's to come and what magic we can make under the full moon on Friday. All right, so let's pull a card. I'm going to pull from the Moonology Oracle deck because I love doing that on days where we're just talking about the moon. And we'll see what else needs to come through. As always, this is your time to ask your questions. Let me know how the energy is feeling for you. Let me know where Virgo is in your chart. That's a great place to look for this full moon. And this Friday, of course, I'll have another astrologer on with me talking all about the Virgo moon, the transits playing out in the background, what it means for your sign, how to best use the energy. We'll be breaking it all down for you. But if you want to be an overachiever, and you might under the Virgo moon, if you want to be a little bit of an overachiever, pull out your birth chart and take a look at what house Virgo rules in your chart. What other planets are there? Those are going to be activated under this full moon, and that area of your life is going to be activated. If you don't have a copy of your birth chart, you can find one, get one for free at thespiritualjournalist.com/birth chart. Just put in your name, date of birth, and time of birth, and a free birth chart will pop up for you right there. It's always great when you're tuning into these live streams to have your birth chart out, or at least if you're really familiar with it, have it in mind as we're talking about different planets, different houses, different energies. You can kind of compare and tailor the forecast to you. That's why I don't do daily horoscopes for each sign, because it really is so much more complex than just your sun or your rising sign. And I want to give you the opportunity to, I want to give you credit for how smart you all are. You are able to assess all of the energy in your chart and how it's playing out. So anyway, if you haven't done that yet, head to thespiritualjournalist.com/birth chart. Like I said, it's completely free. It's a great place to start. If you want a more detailed analysis, you can buy a report of your birth chart there for $25. It's a huge detailed report, like 50 pages long, or you can book a reading with me and we can go through it together. So let's pull a card. Also, last thing I'll say about this is if you're watching, depending on where, scan the QR code in the corner and that'll give you a link to the birth chart calculator as well. All right, now let's pull our card. What do we need to know today? We got the new moon in Virgo card, you guys. It's too good. A time to give rather than take. What have we been talking about? Virgo is the sign of service, and giving to others will feel really good under the Virgo moon, regardless of the moon phase, really. But again, with such heightened emotional energy, with this being a full moon, make sure you are aware of your expectations that you're putting on other people, and make sure you are not having expectations without declaring them or letting the other person know about them. Expectations are like the thief of joy when the moon is in Virgo. But this card is also reminding us to look back at the new moon in Virgo, okay? Last September was the new moon in Virgo. Where were you? What was going on? What intentions did you set in September under that new moon? And now that we're coming around to the full moon in Virgo, this is a beautiful time to reflect on those intentions and to see how much has manifested for you, how much has changed for you, and maybe what adjustments you can make if you want to keep moving towards that path. Or I think also just appreciation under the full moon, gratitude, appreciation, abundance are all things that we talk about under a full moon, appreciating how far you've come since that new moon in Virgo last September. So this is what this says. When this card comes up, it's time for you to take stock of your situation. Where are you and where do you want to go? Seriously. The new moon energy of this card suggests a restart, and the Virgo energy suggests you make that restart a clever one that's simple and well organized. Virgo also has a strong health aspect to it, something we haven't talked about. So if you've been unwell, this card suggests that your health is on the up. Virgo loves clean eating and alternative therapies, so add these into your routines now, however you've been feeling. If a situation is blocked at the moment, it could be that you're overanalyzing things or being too critical. It's time to ask less of what someone else can do for you and think more of what you can do for others. Recommit to healthy morning and evening routines. That's the attuned to the moon assignment for you from this card. Gradual improvements are coming. Pay attention to detail if you want success. Be of service to others. The love and money will follow. The person you're asking about is reliable. Okay. And like it says, the Virgo is the sign of health, service, analysis. Energy is very precise. When this card comes up, it could be that a wonderful bounty is coming your way under the Virgo full moon. However, the energy of the new moon in Virgo is usually about getting your life in order so that's what you need to do at the time of the Virgo new moon and whenever else you pull this card. So anyway, that's the full breakdown from the Moonology guidebook, but how spot on with everything that we've been talking about today. I really appreciate too that this card mentioned health, something I didn't talk about, but pay attention to your health and routines with the moon in Virgo. They can be very nurturing for you, and this can be a beautiful time to make adjustments to those things ahead of the full moon, and be of service to others. Whatever your motivation is, try to find a way to serve others and not worry so much about what you can get from others. Man, this is exactly the message I needed to hear today. It always is, but everything about that card was just so spot on. So, So glad I came here. So grateful you came here and joined me today. It's a good day to be alive, you guys. So that's going to do it for today's episode of Transits Today. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible, really, so we can start monetizing this channel and keep bringing this content to you for free every day. We'll be back tomorrow morning taking a look at that square between the sun and Lilith, getting you ready for the full moon. And then Friday, we'll have a full-blown full moon show with another astrologer talking about what this full moon means for your sign as well. Lots of exciting things coming for the astrological new year too. Of course, we have the spring equinox over the weekend. Aries season begins on Sunday, and Monday morning is going to be a party here on Transits Today. I have another astrologer joining me for that. We're going to talk all about the astrological new year. I have some fun announcements, maybe even a giveaway. We'll see. So make sure you're here Monday morning and joining the party. I'd love to see you there. But wherever you're joining us, however you're watching, I'm grateful you found this video. I'm grateful you showed up for yourself today. I'm grateful you showed up for this community today. I love you, and I will see you right back here tomorrow morning. But until then, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.